Your first touch point, the first meeting, your primacy effect. Now let's be clear about what a primacy effect is. It comes from the work of experimental psychology, where research has shown that when you present people with a list of items, there's a tendency to remember those that come first better or more easily. And this demonstrates a fundamental psychological process. We often refer to it as first impression. When we meet people, we take in a lot of information and start making judgments about them. And this is very powerful in many situations, certainly in interviews, and certainly on a first date. If you don't get it right, you might not get a second date. So what that means is, in terms of working with students on projects, how you interact with them, how you communicate will influence their perceptions of you. You've got to remember that many may come to that first meeting with apprehensions and concerns. They may not have chosen their projects. And it's up to you to create a positive environment and a positive moving forward to the success of the project. So, while you may primarily be concerned about explaining the administrative details of the project, there's many other important things that you need to bear in mind if you want to build positive rapport with the students and get them motivated, despite the fact that some of them may initially not be, to putting in a good shift and being successful in their project. So let's have a look at what would constitute good outcomes. From this first meeting, it would be nice to achieve these kind of things. I'm not going to read them all out. You can look at these and download the slides, but certainly they know what the technical procedural aspects are that they've got to basically meet. And to bring out their concerns, identify and address those as best as possible through good facilitation practices. And we'll consider those in part, and we will be looking at some specific ones in this context. And when and how the next meeting is, and what's to be done. So what their kind of expectations are post this meeting and from the next meeting. Not everything may be clarified, and that's where the in-between meeting time is really important. What you must get is a positive ending to the meeting. Psychologists call this a recency effect. And you want the students to leave with a feeling, well, okay, even if we don't want to do this project, it wasn't our first choice, that the supervisor is with us, supportive, and we can get a lot of meaningful learning from this. And there's a great quote here from the famous success coach Anthony Robbins when he said this: rapport is the ultimate tool for getting results with other people, and that's what you want to get with your students as best as possible. Finally, here's some key aspects of communication style that may help in doing this. When you talk to students, you don't want to be dull, you don't want to be monotonous, you don't want to be dominant. You want an expressive voice. It's clear, concise, and focused to the group. So use terms and use language that works with them, and make sure your body language is collaborated. You know, look at them, make eye contact. Try to have a bit of humour, use smile, very powerful communication techniques that work subconsciously, and make sure that the students understand what's being done, what they need to do, and what you're prepared to do for them. And do recognise it's okay talking about self-directed learning, but these are young adults. They ain't fully developed in terms of brain maturation, so don't expect them to be too self-directed. They will need some support to varying degrees. And it's really important to establish this through good questioning that we will look at in some detail on how to do this effectively in this tutorial.